What is good, everybody? Man, am I excited to be back. Damn, that was a shitty intro, but man, am I excited to be back with you guys. My name is Isaiah Nenny. This is the GameTime Gazette. And as you know, as many of you know, listening, I haven't been on the air for a few weeks. Just took a little bit of a break, but I'm back and I'm better. Got a lot of things, exciting things set up for the coming weeks this summer to just keep you guys, all the sports fans that keep tuned into the Game Time Gazette on a daily basis, entertained throughout the summer. We got the playoffs right now, so I don't really got to do too much. That's why I even took off a perfect little time, come back just at the mid of the second round of most of these playoffs, NHL, NBA, and then just be able to come back and, discuss with a lot of you guys. And this is the nitty gritty times, right? This is the nitty gritty times. This is where we see the champions and the legends be made. So for me, this is why, I just took a little bit of a break. My fault for, keeping that kind of on the lows until it happened. I really apologize for that. Kind of unprofessional of me. It's like I just came up and left out of nowhere. But yeah, just been a fun few weeks here, getting back home and just getting back into a little bit of a rhythm. Going to be heading up to New York in a few days and going to be going and just doing my thing with a lot of probably, head up to MSG, hopefully maybe a Knicks game. Hopefully they're still in the playoffs. I'm not rooting for the Knicks, but hey, I'd love to see a Knicks game. It looks very lit right now. Maybe a Rangers game. They're looking like, hey, maybe hopefully they're still in the playoffs. That series right there, we'll get into it. But that series right there has gotten kind of in the nitty gritties. But yeah, just with everything, just making it and then be able to make some content up there. Obviously, New York has no shortage of just content and go, Madison Square Garden, go to New York Square. I forget what it's called. It's the Big Apple, right? It's the Big Apple, and you guys will be seeing some content from me on TikTok, on Instagram, and Twitter. Catch me on that. Plus, obviously, I'm still gonna be working towards, just getting the podcast out on the daily, weekly basis that I do it every Monday, Wednesday, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sorry about that. I'm watching the Knicks game as I am recording this right now. Knicks are up 20, went on like a 7 or 12-0 run. And yeah, Ben Shepard just hit a three to break that up. But yeah, I mean, just working towards, getting some better content out there for you guys. And hopefully in New York, I'll be able to go do that. Where is it to start? Where is it to begin? It's been such a lot of things. I mean, the sports world, every day, 100 things happen. And if you aren't like, keeping up with it, keeping up with the news, you get like a million things behind. There is so much I could talk about. I don't know. I feel like on this episode here, you probably just go into everything, probably get into every single sport, just dive into, a little bit on every single sport. Cause obviously I can't get into in detail on every single sport. It's be like a 3-hour episode here, but I'm gonna keep it a little shorter than that, a lot shorter than that. I don't want you guys sleeping out on me. This isn't a book. This isn't a book. I'm just the Game Time Gazette. I'm just gonna keep you guys updated, right? And we'll start it off with a little bit of racing. It's been since we last talked here on the Game Time Gazette. I believe that when we last talked, the paddock was off in Suzuka in Japan. There's been a few races since then. The paddock has since then made it to China, as well as after China, I believe it was no, after China, it's the United States of America. This race here. Yeah, I'm over here stumbling on my words, but I'm correct. Yeah, so the paddock has since we last talked, since we last talked and they were in China, then they went to yeah, since we last talked, they went to China and then they went to Miami. Man, it took 3 days to get out there, but it's out there. And yeah, I don't know why it took me so long to get that out there, but exciting news. Somebody that's not Max Verstappen has finally won a race. yeah. And it's Lando Norris. I mean, it was a big ups to him. Obviously, it was the funniest thing as well, him acknowledging all the Twitter kind of trolls calling him Lando No Win, Lando No Win, No Win. Yeah, like I think it was Lando No Win, No Win, I think it was. It was like a clever name that he acknowledged. Or was it Lando No Win? Yeah, Lando No Wins. Lando No Wins. I don't know why I'm stumbling on all my words here tonight. The Knicks are just absolutely battering the Pacers. So, if I do a little stumble, it's because of that. But yeah, Lando No Wins finally got his, first career win in 124 starts. Obviously, if you watch Drive to Survive, if you're an F1 fan that got into F1 through Drive to Survive, there is no reason to be ashamed by that as well, because it's a perfect show. It's a great show to showcase kind of the drama that goes behind the scenes in the F1 paddock, as well as, I mean, in the boring seasons like this season and last season, and to be honest, a few years in that Mercedes domination seasons as well. Netflix show like Drive to Survive really gets you into an F1 sport that doesn't really have too much on track action that really gets you engaged. You're really just thinking about the behind the scenes. But nonetheless, if you were watching Drive to Survive, it's been shown in multiple seasons how much Lando Norris has been kind of chasing this first win, especially with McLaren as well. You could, all the kind of silly seasons he's been through where they talked about, I mean, McLaren has finally got good again, which is great to see. It's great for the sport of F1 that they're finally getting good again. But in the past few years, they haven't been all that great, right? The expectation has been there for them to get good again, and they finally been in, with all the regulation changes and everything. I mean, it's just been match made in heaven, and McLaren just being able to get back into McLaren ways. And Lando Norris getting this first win of his career is another indication of that. And I really love to see that for F1. I wish that there's a different driver winning every week, but no, I mean, Max Verstappen, it's he's driving a rocket ship, man, and he's a great driver too. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna be one of those Twitter fans that are gonna diss Max Verstappen when I mean, there's not a lot to diss. He's a great driver, great on the turns, great on the corners. A lot of F1 fans kind of argue, it's not about the parody, this and that. It's just about seeing the talent on the grid, but you want that talent to be able to compete at a high level, right? And that's my thing with F1 and no parity and Max Verstappen winning every race. But it's great to see that, it's great to see Lando getting his first win of his career. And hopefully this means that, a few more different drivers win, in this season. I doubt it. I doubt that there's going to be a lot more races that drivers win. Max probably going to win 70% of the races left, but it's a good sign. It's a good sign. It means that the rest of the teams are catching up. McLaren did have a lot of upgrades going into Miami. So hopefully that means that, these upgrades are working much, much better. Obviously, they're working much, much better, but like to close that gap that has been such enormously been there for such like a few years now, right? Hopefully Mercedes, I mean, the tractor gets closer. Ferrari, the team that's been the closest of them all, hopefully they get them upgrades that just get them closer and closer. They're going to Imola, Italy. So this is, probably expecting, some big upgrades coming here from Ferrari as they go to Imola and then Monaco to end the month. These are kind of Ferrari's races. Like if Ferrari's able to win one, it'd be so freaking surprising and so freaking good for Ferrari, a Ferrari team that, yeah, number one needs a win. But I mean, you're talking about a team that, when was the last time Ferrari has won in Italy? Man, it's been so long. It's been so long. You're thinking about back to Vettel, probably a little closer than that, but maybe not, man. Maybe not. But yeah, just with that, F1 again hasn't been that much of an interesting season, not gonna lie, but I did say that I would cover it when another driver wins. And as well, I haven't covered anything at all for a long time. But that's F1 news for you guys. If you guys want some more F1 news, especially a lot of the more the silly season news, the Fernando Alonso re-signing with Aston Martin, a lot of those things kind of go under the weeds. Just because I don't know how we're feeling on F1 this year as well, right? Because it's like Max winning every race, right? But guys, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know. Tweet at me, Instagram, all of that. YouTube, comment, everything, wherever. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the most beloved sport in all of the world, and that is European football. Most specifically, we're talking some Champions League. And so from what we last talked, I even remember the last conversation I had about Champions League with you guys, and it was Barcelona losing to PSG after going down 10 men after Rojo's mistake. And after just, it felt like it was a bad beat for Barcelona. It felt like it was some corruption beat for Barcelona, like they should have gotten. It was just bad luck. Bad luck at the end of the day. A few weeks removed from it now. I still keep that stance that PSG was not supposed to move on, and they shouldn't have moved on. Really, just obviously, yeah. You go back, you go down 10 men. Yeah, you better move on. But it looked like they even struggled to move on against Barca down 10 men. I said this, man, and then they go down against Dortmund and then get beat. Get beat 1-0 at home, get beat 1-0 away. It was something about like 16 missed opportunities. It was like 4 missed opportunities or 6 missed opportunities that hit the post in the second. A lot of bad, play there from PSG. You just don't miss that many opportunities. I don't care if you feel unlucky or not. Like, you just don't miss that many opportunities. Especially when there were some wide open nets. The net just gets open, it gets big, and then the heads start to shrink a little bit. And PSG, they shrunk a lot. You seen it; it was evident. And at the end of the day, they went to Dortmund, and they weren't able to beat a Dortmund team that, yeah, played really inspired. Everybody's been saying that, hey, this is going to be one of the most worrying Champions Leagues because they think Real Madrid is going to win it. But Dortmund's been playing really inspired, right? It's going to be an interesting Champions League final to watch. Definitely going to be an uphill battle for a Dortmund team. Yeah, and as I stated, yeah, Real Madrid being able to beat Man City. It was in that second leg that they scored in the first 13 minutes and able to hold that one goal up until like the 60th, 70th minute where Man City tied it up, or 80th minute, I'm sorry, tied it up, right? Being able to take that over to extra time, being able to hold that and then take it to penalties. They didn't have a shot on target after they scored, bro. It was like remarkably haram ball, bro. That's like, it was remarkably bad in my opinion. I don't like Real Madrid to start as well. Like, oh, you're playing haram ball. And if you guys don't understand what haram ball is, it's a term used by a lot of Twitter trolls that says it's haram it means bad. It means in it means not allowed. It means frowned upon. Frowned upon is the perfect word for haram. Frowned upon. And I'm not Muslim, right? So I don't understand I'm not an Arab, so I'm not like really, obviously I'm taking it from Twitter trolls, but like when I'm trying to explain, I'm not like the best at explaining. That's what I mean. But I feel like frowned upon is the best way to explain it and represent it. They're playing haram ball the whole second leg there, and being able to move on because Man City, I mean, Bernardo Silva had a ridiculous Panenka that he tried and missed. I mean, it happens to the best of us, and it definitely happened to Man City. Real Madrid capitalizing on that, like they've been capitalizing on all these games for however long that they've been capitalizing on. These guys just continue to have this black magic hold on the European, Champions League. I don't even know how many souls they have sold of themselves, but they have continued to get luckier and luckier. I mean, look at the Bayern games, bro. They were in the first leg, obviously 2-2, being able to take that back home. And they take it back home. Bayern's up after a beautiful opening goal in like the 60th, 70th minute there by Alphonso Davies. And then out of nowhere, 85 minutes in. I mean, the game looks like you'll buy and just hold for 5 minutes plus at a time. You're on to the final. It's going to be an all German final. If they hold no goals, they on to the final. 85-minute Bayern, and Manuel Neuer makes one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen Bayern Neuer make. I've never seen him make such a big mistake, and he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, if not the best, and one of the best goalkeepers of all time. Man lets the ball bounce, take a weird bounce off his chest, and right into the leg of Joselu, who was right on top of it, able to score 1-1. 3-4 minutes later, just black magic stuff there from Real Madrid, being able to get back up 2-1. 2-1. Granted. Bayern did drop the ball. Tuchel and all his coaching mistakes, allowing the essentially Real Madrid to come back. Taking off Kane, taking off Musiala. Like, take off Kane if you want to. Honestly, you want to put a defender in instead of Kane, understandable. But Musiala, and Musiala was arguably the best player on the field and on that game. And to take him off, I mean, there's not a lot of time left. Keep him on and keep that attacking threat on, especially after that mistake of Manuel Neuer. Could have had Musiala to, apply that pressure there. Granted. I haven't even mentioned the biggest part of it all, which was the just blatant corruption and nonetheless, the final is Dortmund against the inevitable, they call it, Real Madrid. It's going to be a fun one. And I hope the best for Dortmund, and I hope the worst there for Madrid. And yeah, that's at the end of the month there. Moving on to the Europa League, seen Bayer Leverkusen. They are 50 games unbeaten as I'm talking to you guys right now after beating Bochum on Sunday. I mean, just phenomenal stretch of games here from that team. This is a team that what else could be said about this Bayer Leverkusen team led by Xabi Alonso? Just a crazy amount of momentum, consistency that it takes to be able to hold this stature and hold your own and stay your own. Right. I mean, Germany hasn't been as tough throughout the years, but the Europa League's been pretty tough, right? To stay undefeated, it's tough nonetheless. And they've done it. They have multiple, late game comebacks. It's just been phenomenal. Phenomenal to see from the Bayer Leverkusen group. And yeah, I hope they go whole season undefeated. That'd be something fun to see. Just a few more. I believe it's 3 more games that they have to win or draw. That's it. And after that, boom, it's off to just paradise. They've already beaten the record for longest streak in the modern era. So it's now they're making their own record from this point on, which is great to see, which is just amazing to see. As I talked earlier, obviously it's been a little bit, but I'm watching the Pacers game right now. Pacers versus Knicks. This is game 5 of the Pacers Knicks, and the Knicks have just dismantled the Pacers. It's 116-90, and it's 2 minutes left in the game. 26-point lead there for the Knicks. It's wow. In a series of ups and downs, when the Knicks lose a guy like OG Anunoby, they lost those 2 games in Indiana and came right back to New York and really just dealt with it. And this is seeming like it's a Denver Timberwolves series part 2 here. No away team has won a game on this series. Obviously now the Knicks are pushed. Just need one more, and they have 2 more opportunities to do that in game 6 and 7 if needed. I'm going to New York, so I'm hoping that there's a game 7 there, but obviously when there's a game 7, probably won't be able to get tickets, man. Those things probably gonna be expensive as fuck. But it's gonna be fun there if they do get a game 7 atmosphere of it all. If they lose, it'd be whew. But if they win, hey man, New York might be the best place to be. As I was talking, yeah, Denver and Timberwolves, what a crazy series we got over there. What a crazy series we got over there. It was started 2-0. Denver got blown the fuck out in that second game, and then able to just bring it back. Third game, fourth game, masterclass from Jokic in the third game, masterclass from Aaron Gordon of all people in the fourth game. He went like almost perfect, 11 of 12 from the field, had like 8 rebounds, 7 rebounds, something like that. It was like effective on every single level. He had like 6, 7 assists. He was like the best player on the floor, just being effective on every single level. Obviously, Jokic doing his thing, Jamal Murray doing his thing as well, which made Aaron Gordon's, 25, 26, 27, how much ever he had, so much more impactful, right? So, that series is tied at 2. My prediction for that one, I feel like it's still, I said Denver was going to move through. Obviously, I didn't say it here on the GameTime Gazette. I haven't been with you guys since the series has been made and all of that and all of this, but I said Denver would make it through just because of the experience factor of it all. And I feel like this is just the coming out party here for Anthony Edwards and the crew. For them, it's very possible that they could go on and do it all this year. Experience be damned, they could go out and do it this year, but I don't know. It's hard to do it without it, especially when times get tight. Like, so let's see how they respond tonight. Obviously, I'm filming this or recording this before game 5 of that series. I might actually just stop recording here and start recording after that game is done and see it. But I already said it, before the game started. I don't believe that they'll make it through because of that experience factor. That experience factor for Denver allowed them to come back into the series. You know what I mean? So I believe that experience factor, plus Denver is just a really talented team as well, not taking away from anything away from the Timberwolves. But the Denver Nuggets are really, really talented all across the board, got the best player in the NBA. And, just got the best supporting cast in the NBA as well. And at the end of the day, it starts to come out more and more. It's a 7-game series. If this was football, Timberwolves would probably win the whole Super Bowl. If this was the Champions League where it's even 2 legs, Timberwolves would probably win the whole Champions League. But in basketball, the 7-game series is such a big factor because it allows teams to get comfortable again and allows teams to get control. And that experience factor jumps in. If you've never been there and don't know how to stop another team from getting that control and this and that, and being able to stop that momentum and being able to create yours when there's no momentum to create, those little nuances that are such big things, it matters at the end of the day, and it's an experience thing at the end of the day that gets it there. So as I said, I'm going to stop it. The next game just finished, about 10 seconds left on the clock in the next game. So I'm going to stop this recording and I'm going to start it again after the Nuggets game is done. Let's see how the experience factors in to everything. I'd love to be proven wrong because I love Anthony Edwards and that crew. And Denver just won last year. It's not like they need to win again. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care who wins. But I feel like, from all the years I've watched basketball, this is what happens. Denver's even at home as well. But we'll see. We'll see. No home team has won in that series. No road team has won in the Knicks series, and no home team has won in that Denver series. So it's going to be fun to see. All right. See you guys in a little bit. Before that, I wanted to talk about Caitlyn Clark's debut, a little bit, deep dive in that. 20 points she was able to get, but 10 turnovers. And I seen a post, everybody trying to be nice and this and that about like the the Fever game just felt short. They lost by 19, brother. They didn't just fall short. They got slapped up. But, young team. They got they got the number 1 pick, I believe, was it last year? Aaliyah Boston got the number 1 pick this year, obviously, in Caitlyn Clark. And both of them are going to grow together. And I'm not going to sit here and say I was surprised by them losing by 20. I watched a few WNBA games last year. In years prior, obviously I'm not the biggest WNBA fanatic, but, just even knowing professional sports, that Caitlyn Clark was going to struggle. Didn't struggle that much softly with 20 points. Able to get the ball into the basket. And that's a good thing. honestly, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, if you're a WNBA fan, if you're a Caitlyn Clark fan, and you look at the 10 assists, and if you're a hater and you look at the 10 assists and judge her by 10 assists, then you do not know basketball. I actually applaud her for going out there and getting 10 assists. You know how confident you have to be after the first, let's say, 3, much less 5 turnovers to keep trying to dish that ball out there, trying to get the ball to your teammates, trying to make those plays. I mean, when you're there, when you're trying to make plays, when you're trying to pass the ball, turnovers are gonna happen. That's just the way of it. That's just the way of the game. That is actually just the way of the game. That is the truth of the matter. But at the end of the day, that is a great thing for her to see, that she is at least confident. She's out there trying and she's out there learning the game. This is a team that had the number 1 overall pick last year. They're not going to go to the WNBA finals this year. I mean, nobody's been able to do that with any team. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Jordan wasn't able to take his team to the finals first year. LeBron wasn't able to do it. Kobe wasn't able to do it. Like Wemby wasn't able to do it. It just doesn't happen. Anthony Edwards wasn't able to do it. Doesn't happen for 2 reasons. Because 1, the team had the number 1 pick for a reason. They were trashed the year before. And 2, they're a young player. They got to learn the game as well. They're versing grown women. You know, I mean, grown men, obviously, in the case of Anthony Edwards and the rest that I named out there. But Caitlyn Clark's versing grown women. And it's a different game now. It's a different type of physicality out there now. And she has to adjust to that game. But getting 20 points in the first game is definitely a great sign to see from her. And from, I mean, just being able to see her get 10 assists, 10 turnovers for me, first game, obviously, that's not something you want on your stat sheet. But if it's there, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as a positive in that aspect of she was confident all throughout the game. She never lost her confidence. 10 turnovers is a crazy amount of turnovers to get. But imagine how many times you never getting out of your game and still trying to do everything else. Okay, you made a mistake, but you're still trying to continue to do that thing. At the end of the day, it'll click at a certain point if you understand what I'm saying. Right. And for Caitlyn Clark, that's just a great thing for her to see. I mean, for her, the future's bright. 20 points in her first game. They can't guard her even when she's having a bad game. Obviously, 10 turnovers. She was having a bad game. Frustrated. I seen one that she was just traveling and she brought the ball up the court. Not a lot of pressure. Once she got through half court, she just didn't know what to do. In her head a lot, you know, and when you're in your head a lot, you're making bad decisions. And I mean, she stopped. And then she kind of started again. And it's like, you know, it's travel. She traveled that, like, you know, probably seen that clip out there. No pressure on you as well. You're not supposed to do that. You don't even pick up your dribble. If you're bringing up the ball, Caitlyn Clark and, you know, anybody playing basketball, that's like number 1 thing. You don't bring up your dribble, especially when you're bringing up the ball. You pass that up. You don't pick up your dribble, right? And she picked up her dribble, this and that. But nonetheless, man, you see that she was just in her head, right? Nonetheless, you see that at the end of the day, she, you know, growing pains, first game in the WNBA and first game as a professional. You know, it's going to take a little bit for her to get there, but 20 points is definitely a great starter point. Definitely wasn't efficient, and, you know, definitely a lot that could have went into playing a lot better there. If you're Caitlyn Clark, I believe the field goal percentage was 5 of 15. So not an efficient start to her career, but I mean, just a great starter point to get off and start off from. Right. And yeah. Okay, so it might seem like there's no break in what I've been doing, but I have been able, the game's done. Nuggets game is done. Nuggets Timberwolves happened last night, and the Timberwolves got beat again. I mean, Jokic just being able to do his thing against a Rudy Gobert that seems to, you know, not have it. You know, them first 2 games are really good for Minnesota, but it's seeming like that 2 big lineup there for Minnesota, especially with Rudy Gobert in the lineup, is a vulnerability for them. You know, Naz Reid has been much better, and Rudy Gobert, just slow on his feet, especially when he comes out to the perimeter, and then Jokic is just tearing him up. A lot of threes you've seen from Jokic, and it allows him to open up the floor for his other teammates and allows him to, you know, be able to go do his own thing as well. like I said, it's the experience factor for me that's the real big tell of it all, because you see it. That Denver's just feels like they've been here before, and they're able to move accordingly with that. And given that's why they're up now 3-2, a game away from the Western Conference Final. Do I see Timberwolves pushing it? They can, but I think we're gonna have to see more variations in the lineup of a Nas Reed, and Karl Anthony Towns. He got hurt there last night too, but you want to see him and Nas Reed a little bit more on the floor together, or you just want to see a more variation of, okay, let's do a not or a Karl Anthony Towns soul center. Then you put in slow mo. Then you put in, like, gotta have a little bit more variation. And Chris Finch did a great job in the first two games with the matchups. But this is the times where you got to kind of switch up the matchups, and you got to make those adjustments, right? And for a coach that's been second times in the playoffs, right, and first time here in the semis, in the quarter, sorry, or semis. It's for, it's a good thing to see, or it'd be a good thing to see some adjustments, some movement in the lineup to kind of adjust to what Denver's been doing well, and that's Aaron Gordon. Obviously, they finally started, contesting Aaron Gordon's shots. That's a little adjustment, something that they should have been doing. Kind of underrated him, and they killed him, or he killed them, especially when they just drop coverage, and then he'd be able to just shoot the three, and the three was going in. Remember, 11 of 12. But yeah, the experience factor as well allowed Denver to come back into the series, which is a great, great thing for them. It's going to be interesting to see as these playoffs go on, who really stands out from everybody else and who really gets it. And as we move into that, since it is Wednesday as well, I wanted to bring back Wild Takes Wednesday. I wanted to, pop it out. And so let's do it. Let's run the music. Wild Takes Wednesday starting. That's crazy. Take one. Okay, Wild Takes Wednesday. So for this Wednesday here is, I don't think this one's too much of a wild take as well. It's that the Indiana Fever will not make the playoffs. I see the Chicago Sky, even the Los Angeles Sparks. Chicago Sky, they got Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese, and the Chicago Sparks got, or the Chicago Sparks, the Los Angeles Sparks got, forget her name, just Camila, no, not Camila. I forget her name, right? But I don't think the Indiana Fever is playoffs ready in a 12-team conference. Obviously, the playoffs is shortened. And I don't think, from seeing from last night's game, this is all I'm stemming off from. So this is really stemming off from one game. But that's why you call it a wild take, because it's not a take that, takes too much thought into it. But at the end of the day, it could be wild, but hey, it might end up true. For this one, I've been saying that, like, Caitlyn Clark's an amazing player. Just got to be able to get back into her game, right? Just got to be able to differentiate the defenses, be able to know when a good shot is a great shot, know when a good shot is a pass up, know when to make great decisions on the basketball court. And obviously that comes with the growth of it all. And with this shortened season, because this is not an 82 game season like the NBA would be, right? For like Wemby, for example, halfway through the NBA season, he even said that he just got so much better, with the time and everything that evolved. I just don't think that there'd be enough time for the Indiana Fever, Caitlyn Clark, and Aaliyah Boston to really mesh together and go on that little run that everybody's thinking that they're going to go on this year. Not to say that you guys shouldn't watch the Indiana Fever or the WNBA, but I don't believe that the impact that you're really looking from Caitlyn Clark will happen this year. Because even 20 points, okay, it's cool. You got Aja Wilson still balling out there with the aces and this and that. She had like 25, 15, and few blocks, few steals, like really stuffed up the stat sheet. That those are the best players in the NBA, and the best team in the WNBA right now is the Aces, obviously, right? So I feel like with the time given to her, though, give her let's say this season, and the next season probably come in and win the MVP. That's even a wilder take right there. But I feel like Caitlyn Clark will win the MVP next season because of all the things that she's learning now. Even as she finished a 20 or a game where she scored 20 points, an efficient 20 points, 5-15 from the field, 6-6 from the free throw line, 10 turnovers. I believe that all that is a great sign instead of a bad sign, as all these Twitter trolls are saying. I believe that that is a great look, and that she'll be able to use that. I mean, all the experience that she gets this year, in year 2, she'll go and win the MVP. This was kind of a low key episode. I wasn't really trying to, I'm really trying to get back into it. It's like when you haven't worked out in a minute, just trying to get back into it, into the nitty gritty of it all. But we're still going to be back on the normal schedule. So like I said, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're going to get back into that normal schedule and do it how it's meant to be done. Going to New York and going to be making a lot of content there for you guys as well. So keep an eye out for that. But for today and for today's episode, I feel like that's all. We're just going to cap it off there. Today was really kind of a news roundup type episode. I did a little bit of a Wild Takes Wednesday. Really wanted to play that soundbite. Watch out for Fridays. We're going to be, getting some deep dives, probably some playoff deep dives, looking at the NHL playoffs. I didn't talk too much about the NHL playoffs here tonight, but NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, those two really heating up, and get into deep dive. Some, conference final matchups should have been set by the time I'm going to be making that episode. If it's not, I'll just be making predictions for those as well, given the teams that are in. Nonetheless, love being back, and I'm glad to be back with you guys. It has been your host, Isaiah Aneni, and this has been the GameTime Gazette. As always, remember, Jesus loves you, so love your neighbor as you love yourself. He ain't have to love us. Go out, tell somebody you love them. Go out and be nice to somebody. It matters. Dark world, trying to just spread some positivity within it all. And like the Pat Mack show says, team on me, team on 3. 1, 2, 3, team. Peace out.